Welcome to Beyond the Awards, a podcast from the British Wedding Film Festival. This is where we have honest conversations with filmmakers shaping wedding cinema, nominees, winners, and industry voices. I'm Joss.
And I'm Jeff, and as co-founders with Laura and Pete of the British Wedding Film Festival, we're excited to bring these conversations to you.
For this episode of Beyond the Awards, we're joined by Alex from Molehill Media, winner of Best Use of Sound Design at this year's festival.
Alex's work stands out for its documentary-led approach, drawing heavily from Netflix-style storytelling with real interviews and authentic voices shaping each film into something that feels deeply personal and narrative-driven.
Today, we're talking about how he builds stories from real moments, his approach to interviews on a wedding day, and how sound and structure comes together to create films that feel more like documentaries than traditional wedding videos. Alex, welcome.
Hello, Alex.
Hello. How you doing?
You?
Yeah, I'm
Hello,
really good.
Alex.
Hello, Joss. Last time I saw you, my friend, was in a karaoke bar with a couple of shots and singing some 90s classics.
Oh,
I
we're going
definitely
there
missed
straight
out.
away.
Yeah, we're going there straight away. Yeah. I think it was Spice Girls or Britney. It was either one of them that you did.
Sorry, but I've got standards. Okay, it was Taylor Swift.
Of course it was. Of course it was.
Are you Swiftie?
I knew there was some cheese
Taylor
somewhere.
But yes, but in my defense, I tried really hard. The voice just didn't follow. It's, you can't be good at everything.
I think, considering you put on such a great night, you had to have a fall somewhere, didn't you? And your singing was one of them.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there is footage, evidence of karaoke night. So I can't actually get away with it. Yeah, I can't pretend it never happened because it did.
No, see, the Venoms are a myth to me because I've never, never experienced it. But if there's evidence of the karaoke, people are holding you hostage with that, aren't they?
I've seen such evidence, and I can vouch for the fact that it wasn't great.
Thanks, Jeff.
Amazing. There we are. The roast of Joss.
Yeah, that's right. Welcome to the Roast Joss Awards podcast, whatever.
Yeah, I got a feeling that the questions were going to be quite nice, and now they're going to be quite hard-hitting.
Yeah, that's right. Let me crack the whip. Alex, we love to start all of our podcasts with a little game, two truth and one lie. So we will ask you for those, and then throughout the episode, Jeff and I will be detectives and try and guess out of the three facts, which one is true. Sounds good. You want me to crack on with them? Go for it.
Okay. So number one is I have no bone in my nose.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have no bone in your nose.
Don't ask me questions, Joss. This isn't the game, mate. I've listened to enough of your podcasts that you start interrogating before it's even time. Right. Number two is in 2010, I was this close to representing the UK at Eurovision.
What?
Yeah, well, it might be a lie, Jeff. Don't give me that. I might be bluffing it.
That'd be a bold lie.
Yeah. And number three was last year I was asked to leave a wedding that I was filming because when I went to interview the bridesmaid, her other half got extremely jealous and they asked me to leave.
No way.
None of them sound true.
So I think I can guess, but we'll do it at the end. But I believe one of them to be true based on your background, Alex. Mm-hmm. So I think I know at least one truth.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm always showing my nose about. That's
That's right.
Amazing. Cool. Are they good enough for you? That was the most stressful thing I've had to do over anything at a wedding.
They are world class. And dare I say really top good. Three. Good. They are just mental.
Lovely.
So I'm looking forward to digging into those.
Lovely. So would we say that I've won another award for?
Yeah, it should be a
top three award.
Yeah, there we are.
Top three. Talking about awards, Alex, you won. So we were talking about the festival, which was a little while ago now. The dust has settled. You won Best Use of Sound Design, which we'll go throughout the podcast. How did it feel at the time? How do you feel about it now that it's sunk in a bit? Talk us through that.
It's weird. I mean, I threw a lot of darts at the dartboard last year just to see. It wasn't necessarily to go out and win anything. It was to sort of assess where I was in the industry and where I can improve. And it turned out to be a wonderful start of the year. I can't deny it. I think sound design, there was multiple entries I put towards your awards because I felt like I could test myself in many different areas. But sound design's probably the biggest compliment you guys could have given me, considering, you know, the whole basis of the style that I'm doing is nothing without the audio. So yeah, I feel really good about it. I mean, if you want to ask how I feel right now, it feels lovely to look at those awards outside, on the shelf outside my toilet, which is the only thing I've been designated by my wife. That's the only place I can put them. But I actually feel exactly the same as I did last year. I'm cacking myself about the upcoming season. Do you know what I mean? That's it. Nothing much changes. It was just a beautiful way to start the year. Bit of confidence, bit of pressure. But I would say that I'm humbled, but I'm also hungry. I want to keep improving. That's not a full stop for me. I want to use it as an opportunity to get even better.
I love the fact that you've used it as a gauge, you know, just to see, because I think that's probably like the best thing about entering awards. It's not like, and because our awards are almost anonymous, you know, no one needs to know that you've entered. So it's like, and it's cheap to enter. So it's like, might as well, you know, I might enter, Joss. Do you reckon I'm allowed?
Tell you what, Jeff, give us your money, but you may or may not win.
There we are.
You may or may not win. But Alex, you not only did you won best use of sound design, but you were also, which Jeff and I and Laura NP have recognized, we haven't actually made a big enough deal about. You were shortlisted in multiple categories, which is credit to just your talent. Innovation in wedding filmmaking, documentary style, I believe. So your work was seen by judges.
And music, don't.
And music.
Come on, mate.
That's right. So you were shortlisted. So as far as like gauging where you're at, it's pretty good going, isn't it?
Well, you know, I remember listening to when you did +2 on here, and they were like, we had our hearts set on storytelling and all this sort of stuff. And I don't think you can necessarily always judge your business from within it. It's good to let others have a little look at it, whether that's friends in the industry or judging it through these awards. Because I do documentary films, and I had gone, okay, well, I might be shortlisted for that. And then I was up against The Wild Strawberry and +2, and you go, okay, here we are. And it's the same with innovation. I was up against those two as well. And, you know, it was a beautiful experience to see my work up against theirs. I loved the fact you could see little snippets like the Oscars before. I think that's a great thing. It was the buzz in the room, not knowing who was coming up next was fantastic. So yeah, I'm really chuffed. It was such a wonderful event, beginning of the year.
Nice.
Very nice. Yeah. I'm humbled.
Yeah.
I'm humbled by your words, and I'm so excited for next year now. Carry on talking, Alex.
Yeah, well, you will see me. I mean, I think with here's the deal with awards. I think it would be very easy for me to put a full stop on it and go, I've done it. I'm brilliant. Couples are going to get what they're going to get because I am brilliant. I actually think it's more important for me now to enter these same awards again next year. Not necessarily to presume I would win them, because I would never assume to do that. Like there are so many talented people out there, and they're always up and coming, and they're always going to surpass you at some point. But now's the time the hard work has to start. I have to roll with this and try and keep improving rather than make this the conclusion. There would be no point to that. So, I'll be there. And the improvements, I don't want to say improvements, but the adjustments you've made for next year's awards, I think are inspired. And I love the fact you listened to the feedback of the people that were there and entered. I think it was great.
I love your mindset, Alex. Love your mindset.
I think it was a mate of ours, cool. James Tracy, said it's winning awards doesn't make you a better filmmaker, but entering awards does.
I think winning awards can sometimes be a detriment to you being a better filmmaker, because, as I say, it would be very easy for me to sit with my feet up now and go, how bloody brilliant am I? And it shouldn't work that way. It should be a case of, right, you're at that point. It's absolutely fantastic. Let's try and keep improve and see where I am next year. Have I made enough improvements to maintain? Have people come up and above me? Fantastic for them. Where can I see that I've made some mistakes or adjustments need to be made? I just think it's not that I'll enter awards for the rest of my life. I think there has to be a chance that you stop, and maybe start judging like you guys have done, or just, trying to I come from a theatre background. I will admit I'm an absolute whore for applause. So
that's a clue right there, isn't it? That is a clue as to one of your lies.
Don't get me wrong. I do love the fact that I've been accepted by this industry, that people have been very beautiful and very lovely. But ultimately, I'm here to run a business, and I want to make it the best it possibly can be for me, my family, and the clients I'm serving. So I think awards are a great judgment of that.
Well, let's talk about that, Alex, because your trajectory is quite something. I mean, let's go back to like when you started, because how long have you actually been in the industry? 2-3 years?
I worked this out the other day. My first paid wedding was July of 2023. So coming up 3 years. Yeah.
Wow, and you won an award at the festival. You also won this year's UK Videographer of the Year at TWIA, the Wedding Industry Award. So talk me back to like how it started. How have you got to this point?
Like most people, it all comes down to my own wedding, and how I felt about that. I've done media for a certain amount of time. Mainly on the editing side of things and for fun, and not necessarily in a professional capacity. But it was when we got married. Me and my wife have been together since we were 17 years old. I'm now 36, nearly 37. We got married. Thank you very much. We got married just over 3 years ago. And we did that very, very quickly because certain people in our life had been diagnosed with things or were getting older. And we thought, if we don't do it now, we're not going to have the people we love there. So we tried to get photographers, videographers, and much like most couples, you're astounded at how much we charge because you know nothing of the work that goes into it. And immediately my wife went, you should be doing this. Of which I sort of sat on and went, she's seen me go through quite turbulent careers of being an actor and everything like that. Do we want to go into another turbulent career where you don't know where your next paycheck's coming? So I sat on it for a bit, did my wedding. And we got our film back, which was lovely and beautiful. And we did it on the cheap with a friend who just helped me out. And it was a 3-minute highlight hybrid sort of film. It's lovely. We watch it occasionally. I really enjoy having it. But the thing that really stood out to me, that I know will mean the world to me coming the future, is we had one of those audio guestbook messages where everyone left voice notes on there. And that's more precious to me than anything else at my wedding. The photos, the video, because I can hear the people I love saying the funny things, the jokes, the laughs, the sentiments. I love you so much. One of the people that was ill at my wedding was my mum, stage 4 incurable cancer. And she left me the most beautiful message on there going, I love you so, 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 so much. I'm so proud of you. And although she's still battling on to this day, I know at some point that message is going to mean something so much to me in the future compared to what it means right now. And so if that was the moment I went, I'm going to do wedding videography, but I'm going to make it full of moments like that for everyone. And so the idea was born, and that's sort of where I run with it. And I think the trajectory comes not necessarily from how good I am, because there are people that are much better than me. I'm very open about this. Like, there are people that are 10 times better at lots of different things than me. But I think when you've got heart in something, when you're really passionate about it from your own personal experience, and the fact that I never did this style to be different. I never did it to stand out. But because it wasn't the norm in the UK, the trajectory has helped the trajectory a bit, Yeah,
I love the style actually, because it's all the things that I thought would be terrible. You know, when I set out as a wedding filmmaker, I was adamant I wouldn't do interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And I love being proved wrong. I'm constantly being proved wrong in this industry.
That's going on my website.
And
Jeff Wood, I love being proved wrong.
You proved me wrong.
It's great to see. You know, it's a joy to watch.
Oh,
you know, and you know, I've always kind of like done the thing that everyone's done for the past like 10, 15 years. And that's like, oh, look for things in the speeches that are great. And for a lot of weddings, like sort of maybe 7 out of 10 weddings, it's detrimental to the video.
Yeah.
Because there are better parts of that day than the speeches.
Especially now. Now we've got ChatGPT. You'll notice that a lot of the speeches have been run through AI, and they're very similar. And this is the beauty of doing the interviews for my part, is I can dictate how the story goes. I can pull out things from people. Obviously, you have to be careful. You want to make sure that people are comfortable. You want to make sure they want to talk about certain things. But I'm not refined now and defined by the speeches that are mostly the same. Father of the bride says how beautiful his daughter looks and thanks everyone for come. The groom thanks everyone and says 2 minutes at the end about his bride. And the best man is a wild card. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes you just can't use it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not defined by that now. And we don't do personalised vows enough. They're probably up and coming. But the standardised UK vows are almost useless in a wedding film, but we have to use them. So I now have more colours in my palette. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think almost even personalised vows can, it's lovely and stuff. But I think there's just something that interests me. There's something in breaking the fourth wall, which is just, for me personally, it's just more entertaining now.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah.
So like anything like that, little sound bites, little personal messages, brides looking at the camera before a first look, say, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
I think they are the things that interest me. And they are all the things that were massive no-nos for about 15 years of my career. So it's just this changing style. And I think it's partly because the generation getting married now, they're not as much of kind of cinephiles as my generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So my generation like love movies, and the more like a movie their wedding film is, the better.
Yeah.
This generation, it's all social media, and movies are a bit boring to them.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah.
I
I think social media has had an impact. You know, you've got constantly, I mean, not that I do particularly 20-year-old brides. Most people are probably my age, around sort of mid-30s. But when you do get those young whippersnappers, they're all, you know, check out my dress and all this sort of stuff. They're used to being on camera and talking, or they're used to seeing other people. It's become more normalized. But that being said, the young people aren't usually who I'm targeting to interview. It is the generation that wanted movies that I'm going up to and asking for, because those are the people, the mums, the dads, the grands, are the ones that are going to mean the most in 30 years' time when perhaps they're not around. Do you know what I mean? Or you know, dementia or anything that where you want to see those people in that moment. So it can be a challenge sometimes.
How did you land on that style, though? Because it's one thing to want to hear people's voices, and some incorporate that within their wedding films, but your style is very unique. Like, how did you actually land on that particular approach of like documentary style interviews? You know, it feeling like a docuseries on Netflix kind of thing.
Yeah.
What was the influence?
I think ultimately I've always loved documentaries. I've always watched them. You know, recently I've binged a lot of the Netflix ones, whether it be the Gordon Ramsay one or the Robbie Williams or Beckham or whatever. They always resonate with me more than anything else. But I would say I conceived an idea, but didn't know how to put it into practice. I knew I wanted to fill wedding films with moments like the audio guest book. And it just so happened that the algorithm put me onto a enthusiastic American man called Justin Porter, who is doing a style similar to mine and conceived it really over there and ran with it. And it's not that I've wanted to copy him, because we actually do quite different styles. He's reality TV. I would like to think I'm documentary. But I was able to finalize the idea that I had, the conception of making sure that I had people's voices throughout it, and ask advice from someone that's been doing it for another couple of years ahead of me, and was able to fast track the way that the equipment I needed, the way to put it into practice, and then navigate how that works into the UK market, because it's different. It's so different to the US market. So I'd give him a lot of credit, a lot of props. A lot of people compare my work to Justin. It's a massive compliment, but I am trying to carve my own path, and but I have to give him the props for helping me so much, especially at the beginning of the beginning of the idea, you know.
Has it always been your style, or did you do something else before?
As in with wedding? Yeah, no, I did 2 wedding films where I just wanted to be at the event to make sure I knew how it ran. My best friend's wedding was in Norway, and I said, can I just bring a camera? I literally bought an A7S III the week before, having never held a professional camera before, really. And I was best man, so I was double dutying, making sure he was good, and then taking a video of him. You nice. Good? Yeah, you look great. So I managed to carve something out of there, which then I was able to go to wedding fairs with at least some content. And I just said to everyone at the wedding fair, this is a style I can do, but what if I was to do something that was, long lasting, incorporated the people of your life? So it was about 3 weddings in that I started interviewing, not as in depth as I do now, just bits and sound bites. And it's gradually grown, 2.5 years, but it's grown within that time to be what it is now.
So, linking all this to the award you won at the festival, Best Use of Sound Design, a lot of, and in truth, myself included, when you think about sound design, you think special effects, that kind of like, adding Foley, but actually there is also so much, there is also so much more to sound design to create a story, which is where your style comes in, which is why we felt strongly about you winning this award as well. Because it's, there's the technicalities. I know I've listened to you on other podcasts, and I've seen stuff on your website, Alex, of you miking up groom and bride. And there's so much sound that you capture on the day, not just through interviews, but just general chit chat and conversations. And you manage to bring all that into a cohesive piece, and that is sound design, and that is sound storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it. I mean, honestly, and I say this really openly, I'm not the best videographer in any room. Like, I am just doing what I can. I've obviously got an eye for something, but there are people that know much more than me. What makes a film come alive, though, is the sound. So I'm not so bothered about there are people better than me at the visual, because I think you can get away with video. Bad video can get away with it with good audio. Bad audio with good footage, it doesn't. I think there's something there to be said. But I think if you look at, I was a bit of a movie buff not that anything influence has come really from Hollywood movies, but I was a big movie buff when I was a teenager. If I picked my top 5 favorite movies and turned the audio off and put it on mute, they wouldn't be my favorite movies anymore. And I've taken a big lesson out of that. I love music. I come from a theatre background, so everything has its place and it all has to mix well. And ultimately, my job as this documentary filmmaker is to make sure that every piece of audio has a place, including the dialogue. But if you can incorporate Foley into that, you can incorporate natural audio, it brings the actual dialogue to life. Do you know what I mean? I think I'm rambling there, guys. I'm really sorry.
No, that's really interesting. You're not at all, Alex.
I was on a drive once, and I can't remember what radio station I was listening to, but they played the entirety of the opening piece of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it was about, 7 minutes long. And by the end of it, I felt like I'd watched the film.
Yeah.
It was
incredible,
powerful. So yeah, totally.
I
with
think
you on
our job should always be to transport the couple back to that moment. And the way you do that isn't by the visuals, it's by the audio, because it's subconscious when you hear that fountain in the background. Like, you remember that, but you weren't paying attention to it. So it drives me mad. And I'll say this, I'll look into the camera to everyone that's watching. If I see a fountain and don't hear it, right?
I'm with you on that one.
I'm coming for you.
Yeah. I hear it. For anyone that's just listening, you need to go on YouTube. Alex was literally talking at the camera.
I'm giving the death eyes.
Pointing. You were pointing, yeah.
Yeah. I just think it's so important. That's what will transport people back. And you can cheat it. You know, sometimes a bit of audio from the day isn't usable because there was music in the background. Create a library from all your weddings of like picking out a fountain, picking out a chair, and play it lightly underneath, because they'll never know that it wasn't from that wedding. They'll just know that it feels alive. They'll feel it rather than sort of acknowledge it. And I think that's really, really important to sort of, make a priority, not just another faction that you have to go through in the editing process. It should be a priority, all types of audio. It doesn't have to be dialogue. It could just, every shot should have some sort of atmosphere to it.
Can you talk me through like the process of capturing the interview? So let's start with like the planning phase. So how do you decide, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but still, I'm going to ask that. How do you decide who you want to interview and gain their time? And then what kind of plan do you have a game plan going into the interview as far as like a script or a list of questions, that kind of thing? How does that happen?
So it's much easier these days. When I was first starting and there was no evidence or proof of what I was actually putting forward to these couples, it was much harder to sort of convince people that I needed to speak to mum or dad or anything like that. Now people are seeing the end product through Instagram or the website or whatever. It's a lot easier to go, right, who do you want? But essentially I send out a couple of questionnaires. One of them's about their life. I want to hear about how they got engaged, what means to them, who's important to them. And I will read that through and go, right, so here's the story I see. I'm creating a documentary of you and your loved ones, and it happens to be set on the best day of your life. So I'm going to want to speak to perhaps mum, dad, both sides. Granny seems to have made you a wonderful lasagna in 1993. Let's get her on. Some people that mean more to you. So I make a plan with the couple, and I never promise that I can get all of them, because I've fallen into that trap before. I didn't manage to get mum. She wasn't anywhere to be seen. She was hanging at the bar all night. And then I get the comment of, well, you've got everyone but my mum, So I go, I can't guarantee it, but here's what I'd like to do. There we are. And on the day, I think it's important to establish a relationship with everyone and make yourself a guest with a job to do, and very personable and likable and nice, but authentic at the same time, to make people comfortable, and just drop in a couple of hints that I might grab you later. I might have a little chat to you if that's all right. And then when I see the opportunity, I will make sure that I get the priority people. That can be in the cocktail hour. That can be during the meal. That can be during the dancing. It's really when I've got the opportunity. But the priority is not how it looks or even how it sounds. It's actually getting the interview.
Yeah,
because if I spend 20 minutes lighting it, making it look fantastic, I may have actually missed the opportunity to speak to them. So it's all gauged on that. Yeah. And ultimately it's all about observation. You've got to observe what's happening throughout the day, because I'm trying to link moments that I might have heard through the microphones. I don't listen to them on the day. I listen to them after. But if I've seen that someone's having an in-depth conversation with the bride and it's got emotional, I'm going to interview her to give that moment context so I can bookend it.
Yeah.
How do you know them? Then the little moment, you look so beautiful, or captured on the microphones. And then the person going, I'm so proud of her. I'm so glad to be here. You've got a scene.
So you're very much flexible on the day with regards to, like, you still have a game plan, but you're flexible with based on moments, interactions happening. You can decide this person would be a good one to interview as well. Yeah.
But it's not always easy. I must stress, I said this on when I've done other podcasts. There are easier ways to make film. It's not for the faint of heart. It is.
That's good to say.
There are no breaks. There are no breaks. And you can stress yourself out, because sometimes a venue in December where it's raining outside and it's a 1-room venue, where are you doing these interviews? You know, it can really be quite stressful at times, but you've promised them something. As long as you give 100% and they see you giving 100%, you can only deliver what was available to you on the day, you know?
You've half answered this already, but I wanted to ask you, do you have a special technique to get people to open up to you? And you've kind of half answered that by being friendly with them throughout the day. But what if you get someone that is just a bit standoffish?
Yeah.
You know,
I'll try my best. It is about building that sort of relationship, making yourself open to them to sort of trust you. It's all about trust. They have to trust that you're not going to take their words and make them look an idiot. So it's building that relationship before. And then I'll always say to them, look, it's a conversation. It's not an interview. I'm not going to ask you where you see yourself in 5 years' time and what your strengths and weaknesses are. You know, it's a case of, you're going to chat to me like we are now, and I'll pick out the best bits that are going to reflect you and your relationship with them. And ultimately, I have had it where people have started and gone, oh, no, I can't do this. You ask one more time, are you sure? Because it'd be really lovely for them just to have a sentence from you in their film. And they go, no, that's it. I go, I tried my best. If you're not comfortable, it will show on camera. I can't make you do anything. Please go back and enjoy your day. You have to be a people person and have intuition to when people are feeling comfortable or not. And it can be tough sometimes. There have been instances, not to give too much away about the truth and a lie, but there have been incidences that have been difficult for me and come away going, I haven't got what I would love to have got for this couple, but we'll make it work somehow.
Right. How often does that happen when you get like one particular person that just you can't get anything out of?
I mean, usually, no, not really. No, not every wedding. I mean, you start to think that father of the bride is a bit standoffish, and you get a gauge of him and you're like, he's not going to do this. He's not going to do this. And you go up and ask and he won't shut up. You know, you can't really judge it. But it doesn't happen every wedding. It doesn't even happen every 5 weddings. I think people, once they've booked me now, I've got a portfolio of it. They show their parents and they can see the value in it. And they might not go, oh, I love to do that. They might go, oh, I don't really want to, but I see what it means. You know, you will hear me and see what I've got to say about you forevermore. It's immortalized, and that's really important. Most people look back on their home videos and it's important, but I always look at my mum and dad's wedding video where Uncle Lawrence had the camera on his shoulder and the whole ceremony was at his feet, you know? I would love to be able to hear my mum and dad in that moment, their sentiments, their voice, how they felt about each other, because they're different people now. I'd also like to hear my grandparents and everyone and see who they were at that moment. So it's not a sales technique. I just try to be really genuine and tell them why I'm passionate about doing it, and the end goal. The end goal is not to make, yes, the trailers are flashy and all this sort of stuff, but the ultimate heart of it is I want the couple to remember this day as it was and be able to draw on those beautiful moments with the people they love in the future when things change.
One thing that would give me anxiety though, Alex, I'm not gonna lie, is the amount of dialogue you have to listen to. Because, and so that's what I want to go into next, because obviously, I assume all filmmakers still capture ambient sound, and you pick up chatter rather than actual dialogue. You see what I mean? So it's much easier to edit because you look at facial expressions and moments, but you're also listening intently to actually a conversation. So you basically have pretty much double the workload of any of us.
I'm so glad you acknowledged that.
Yeah. How do you not feel overwhelmed? Like, is there a process? I don't want to use the word template because that always sounds negative, but do you have some kind of blueprint and a process you go through to do that without it being overwhelming?
It is overwhelming, and I did 36 weddings last year, and it was too many, far too many. And I'll give you an exclusive. I got to October, and I had every intention of making it my last year. By the overwhelm, and then the beginning of the year happens, and we're sort of shaking, giving it some
feeling it. Yeah.
But I've got a more controllable year this year. There isn't really. I'm a very sporadic, off inspiration sort of. There's no system. The only thing I can do is, like you would do with the speeches and the ceremony, I go through the interviews first and make a cull of them, of the moments I know could be useful. But I end up editing in very linear. All my films are mainly linear. So I just go to certain sections and try to break the edit down into digestible pieces. But to give you an example, I was editing a 7-minute 21 video. Why would it be 7 minutes? I don't know.
Hey, I thought you were going to say, why 7-minute 21?
Well, I mean, I might be disqualified for 21 bloody seconds. Who knows? But I was editing a 7-minute 21 video, and it took me 3 weeks. And that was intense learning. This isn't a way to make money. If I wrote down the hourly rate, it's got to be about passion. It's got to be about the way that I want to give something to my couples that I feel like I wish I'd had or have had through other things. There is no system. It is overwhelming, but I'm so looking forward to 30 years' time when I get those emails going, my God, I didn't realize I needed that sentence from my dad, but I got it. And it's incredible. So anyone that's listening, thinking about I'm looking down the camera again, anyone that's looking to do this style, just know you're making no money from it and you're sending yourself into an absolute breakdown.
Another moment of Alex pointing at the camera. This is becoming a thing. But Alex, so I've only ever done 2 interviews at weddings. One of them was exactly for the reason you talked about. The bride reached out to me and said, I know it's not your style. I've never seen it done in your films. However, Granddad is coming to the wedding, and essentially his days are numbered. He's 90 or was 91, I think, at the time. Anyway, so she says, just want to basically have a little something of him to render him by. So I did that, prepared some questions. I mean, Granddad had Alzheimer's, so even when I was asking about the bride and the groom, he had kind of no idea. But he went off on a tangent talking about how he met his own wife.
Yeah.
And that's the way I started the film. And that was very powerful. And then, I'm not even kidding, a year later, I received an email from the bride saying, Granddad has passed away, and we couldn't help but watch the film back again, just to remind ourselves of what it was like. So powerful.
That's everything you've just said. It justifies why the pain of this this style
totally.
is. It is not at all easy. It's not the hardest job in the world. There are harder jobs, but it's not the easiest way to make videography. But for moments like that you've just said, Joss, it's worth every moment. I had the same. I had the same with a bride last year whose grandma, she looked fit and healthy on the day, but I was told you must get her. And it was last July, and she's no longer with us now. And I had a message from the bride, and she gave the most beautiful interview of saying the most delicious for me as an editor things that I just could run with. But it's not now. It's out of my hands now. That's not my creative film anymore. That's their treasured possession, and it means the world to her now more than it ever will. And that's what it's about.
I love that. I really do.
Yeah, incredible.
Should we talk about the awards again?
Yeah,
because
go on then.
We've touched on it, haven't we? But I mean, we've mentioned before, Joss, haven't we, that one of the most joyful thing about the awards is seeing everyone's face. When people were getting up to collect an award, the joy on their face, it was just so warming to see. Yeah. So, just take us back to that moment.
It was crazy because it was quite early on. Best sound design, and you didn't really know what to expect of the evening at that point. I was sitting there with the 3 bottles of red on the table, just giving it large. I was sitting next to Mike from Mac Videography, and you know, he's from the same area as me. We've got chatting a few times, and it was great to sit with the people. I was also sitting with Arash, who second shoots with me. He knows the pain of everything that I go through, and just to see my film come up on there for best sound design against the people I was against was an incredible moment. And then to be called that I'd won it. I mean, I think there are some pictures on there where I look absolutely horrendous because my face is the muscles in my face were so contorted with joy. And it was you, Joss, as well, who...
It was me. I was going to say.
Did it.
Yeah.
Which meant a lot, actually, because, you know, I believe in mentorship. I've done mentorship with a lot of people over the last 2.5 years. I sort of spread myself a bit about to find out where I'm at compared to other people. And you did one of those with me, a mentorship. So it meant a lot that you were giving me the award. I mean, it was the worst mentorship I've had, but it was meant the world. No, it wasn't. It was fantastic. I can't credit best sound design to Joss at all, but it was wonderful, and it meant a lot. And do you know what? The awards this year, with the ones I've won, it just felt. I come from an acting background that's quite dog eat dog, right? Everyone's after the role you were going for. To come into this industry, I thought it was going to be the same. I'd anticipated that everyone would be fighting each other for jobs. And yes, I'm sure there is that somewhere, but the little section I've come into, awards like that, the cheering of me having a little bit of success has just been so heartwarming and accepting, and it's been wonderful. And that night was a great demonstration of that. It was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. Damn those French people and +2, because they just sweep up. But you know, a lot of us will be coming for them. The way to look at that is to keep improving, to come for them next year. And try and build the UK industry beyond what they're doing, you know?
Yeah.
I think you're the living proof, Alex, that actually taking inspiration from, for lack of a better term, foreigners or non-British filmmakers, because you talked about your Justin Porter mentorship and inspiration, works. And you've adapted it, you've now turned into your own style, and you've put your own stamp on it. It works. And that's precisely what we wanted the festival to do to people, which is inspire them to. And it's not about completely changing your business and your style. It's just about taking bits of inspiration from everyone, perhaps, and then applying that to your work and getting you to think a bit differently about. I mean, we as judges, we definitely did. Selfishly, we really enjoyed the judging process, but we wanted the winners and the shortlist to kind of also reflect that, for everyone to, all the different styles to be acknowledged, all the different approaches, and for that to feel inspirational.
But I think people shouldn't take out of what they saw to try and make themselves more successful because it works for someone else. I don't think that's the right attitude to have. And I don't think they should go, that's the trend at the moment, so I'm going to do that. What they should be looking for is what they loved and what they feel passionate about that they haven't quite found out themselves yet, or they haven't been brave enough to try in the UK industry because maybe it might not work. It shouldn't be about trying to give yourself success off the back of what other people are doing. It should be about trying to level yourself up to something that you feel really happy editing and creating. And I think that's what the awards should be about. And I think that's what you hit the nail on the head with.
I think one of the major things I took from the whole experience was it renewed my confidence in the industry.
Yeah.
You know, because there's been so much chat about content creators are taking our business away, and it's a dying industry, and there's, so many films are looking samey, and it's all getting a bit like, I was getting really down on it. And it's just reinvigorated my passion for it, because just to see, the different styles that people are doing and the passion that's going into it. And it's just totally reinvigorated my passion in my career. Yeah.
I think that's the thing. I think you should just celebrate your uniqueness. I think for a long time, I say for a long time, I've barely watched wedding films because I just have been getting on my own journey. But from the gauge I've got about the industry is we found a formula that worked, and a lot of people stuck to that formula. And now People are trying to celebrate being unique and stretching their abilities and stretching how thing. And I think we should go as far with that as possible, and celebrate what makes you happy, and not just do the easy thing of following the template that the last person you watched did, because the couples are noticing. They're going, we've seen 100 films that all look fairly similar, but that one film was so different. I've got to investigate more, and that was a great thing about the awards, that yes, some of those winning films weren't particularly my style or my cup of tea, but you have to really appreciate the artistry that goes into it. And there are going to be couples out there that are going, my God, I found it. I didn't know I was looking for it, but I found it. And we can all celebrate being a little bit unique.
Yeah, there's so much to be said about that, actually, about having your unique. I mean, I used to, when I started, I know that one of my biggest ideas, I guess, was like, I actually did want to have something like an element that felt a little different. I'm not saying I'm completely different. I'm just saying you need to have your own style. And eventually couples will find you for who you are and like you for who you are. And that's, you kind of become your own artist or filmmaker. And so there's so much to be said about that first email that comes through saying, you're the one that we want. And that's precisely your style is so unique that you will get those couple. And to a certain extent, art is Marmite. You like it or you don't. So I think if you become too much like everyone else as vanilla, and then actually you're not different.
No.
But the idea that your style is so unique, actually, it's like some couples might hate it, but that's absolutely fine. I think that's better than blending in a sea of sameness.
I think for me personally, I'd rather the couples that hated it not even inquire, and that's become the thing, because they would never be comfortable to do the interviews or wear the microphones. I've got a niche. It's Marmite. There are film. This is the thing about the awards. It was a judgment. I didn't know whether the judges would think that this was so unfamiliar territory that it didn't resonate with them. Luckily it did, but it's the same with couples. It's unfamiliar territory. Some people are going to really love it, and some people are going to go, I couldn't think of anything worse than do an interview and wear a microphone. And that's fine, because they were never ever going to give me the best film for them,
Yeah, it's interesting that you touch on that. And I think you've mentioned on this podcast a couple of times about being the best. Like, you said, I'm not the best videographer, but I think that's a concept that doesn't belong in any art. There's no best. It always tickles me when people say, oh yeah, I'm the best in such an area, and it's or they're the best, and it's like there is no best, is there?
No, it's true.
We're all doing something like completely different, and it is art. And that's what made like sort of taking on this whole concept of this awards like quite difficult. And that's it's very difficult to judge, and we
I don't envy you. I tell you, I do not envy you.
It was really hard, and all we can guarantee is that we've put together a judging panel that's as diverse as possible, and everyone has a different opinion sometimes on something. And it's that's
I'd love to have been a fly on the wall. I tell you, I'd love to have been a fly on the wall.
It got a bit spicy at times.
Good. That's what we want. That's what we want. I think it was not to blow smoke. I know everyone here has said how wonderful the awards were. I think it was an incredible night. I think it was done expertly, especially for the first year. And I think the changes you've made moving forward are absolutely inspired. And I can't wait for next year to see how it resonates with the UK base. It's going to be amazing. I will be there with bells and whistles on.
Oh, thank you, mate. That's really nice to hear. Are we okay with the questions, Joss, or should we get on to the answers?
I think we are ready to move on to the answers. Can you remind us of the 2 truth and 1 lie, Alex, please?
Yeah. So I have no bone in my nose.
That's such a weird one.
The other one was in 2010, I was really close to representing the UK at Eurovision. And the third one was I was ejected from a wedding because when I was interviewing a bridesmaid, someone got a little bit jealous.
I'm completely clueless again.
Do you want me to help you with one, Jeff, that I think is right?
Well, I'm thinking the singing one representing the UK in...
Because Alex was also, which you did well not to mention throughout the pod, but you were also on The Voice UK.
Oh, not quite. I was on Let It Shine, which was...
Let It Shine, okay.
Yeah, which was a BBC One programme, a singing contest to be in a musical for Take That. And yeah, I got to the semi-finals of that, so that was a fantastic experience. Nice. But that wouldn't have led me to Eurovision, Joss.
No, but I guess what I'm saying is that I know you've got a background in music and singing. So I kind of, it makes sense.
You wouldn't have known that from
true.
The karaoke night, I tell you now.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got an unfair advantage, Joss, because I didn't go.
Did I imagine you there then, Jeff? Didn't you turn up for 10 minutes?
Yeah, 10 minutes. Jane had the school run in the morning, so we booked a taxi pretty much straight away. Yeah. But we're going to be there with bells on next year.
Is that? Are you going to make that a tradition?
Yeah, I
think it will be.
I think it should be. It was fantastic. It was such a lovely. I had just such drinker's guilt the next morning. It was unbelievable. I felt like, what have I done? What did I say? Who did I offend? It turns out everyone seems to be okay with me, so it's all right. Anyway, yes, that one's true.
Yeah, I was going to say that's Eurovision. True anyway. I saw, which is amazing, by the way. So you nearly did, but you didn't.
Yeah, I was on again another talent show on BBC One called Eurovision You're Something. It was 2010. I was a baby. I was 21 years old, 20 years old. Wow. Only just started singing, and I came second. So it was between me and another guy to go to Eurovision.
Wow.
He came
last.
Who's
the other guy?
His name
came last.
He came last with nil points.
Oh my goodness, mate!
In case he ever listens to this, because he's a lovely guy and he's got a great voice, it's actually Pete Waterman I'm coming for, because the song was bloody awful. So yeah, take that, Pete. It was horrendous. So it wasn't his fault, but so I dodged a bullet quite possibly.
Yeah, Jesus.
The song was called That Sounds Good to Me, and ironically, it sounded good to no one.
Oh, dear. Right, so it's between the nose and the being escorted off the premises. So, I reckon I'm going to go with the being escorted off the premises is a lie.
Me too.
Yeah, that's the lie.
Only because I just saw the yeah.
I've got no bone in my nose.
The boneless. Yeah, that's such a weird thing to just come up with otherwise.
Yeah, I'll show it with something. You'll have to watch on YouTube, but I've got no bone in my nose at all.
Oh my god!
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Nothing at all.
That's so funny.
I'll just put best sound design in the front there. So yeah, that's nothing. So if the guy had have chucked me out of the wedding, if he'd have punched me, I'd have been all right. So
oh my god, should have been a boxer. So funny.
Yeah, cool. You did well. You both got it right. That's a tally for both of you then.
Neck and neck. We've not actually counted the scores so far, but I think it'd be interesting to.
I only count score when I'm winning, and I know I'm not.
Amazing.
Cool. Well, that's the great facts, Alex. Thank you so much for sharing, mate. Thank you for your time.
It's great.
We can't wait to see you at the festival next year, see what magic you create for us, and thank you again, and congrats on your award this year. Your awards, because you won multiple.
Bless you. Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful start to the season.
Great. Thank you, Alex. It's been great to catch up.